Hey, good evening, everybody. Thank you, as always, for hanging out upstairs with us. This is P-Dubs, Patrick. Really appreciate you guys tuning in to the broadcast tonight. I got a couple of fun guest stars with me. I got Michael B., the Game Genie. How are you, Michael?
Awesome.
And then we also have Glenn from Glenn's Retro Show swung by.
Thank you for having me on, sir.
Hope you're doing well, my friends. Hope you're doing well. So, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but behind the scenes, these guys are always telling me, P-Dubs, you're being too hard on Arcade1Up. You need to lighten up. You need to lighten up. They have done a lot of good things, and they have absolutely last couple of years. So I figured, one video that I've actually had on my list. I usually have this whiteboard behind me, right there, and I usually
hate these cameras with the right and left always backwards. Right. It drives me nuts.
And usually, sometimes you guys might get a sneak peek as to what I'm working on, because usually, like whatever videos and stuff I'm working on, I write it on the whiteboard. And one thing that has been on there a few times is top 5. And what it was is I wanted to make a produced video about my top 5 favorite Arcade1Up cabinets so far. Because if you guys think about it, in 2 years, 17, 18 cabinets, might be 18 if you think the Marvel Blue Edition and Limited Edition count as separate cabinets. I mean, that's a lot of 3/4 scale cabinets, and that doesn't even include the cocktail tables, and it doesn't even include all the countercades. So, but out of 17 cabinets, I have owned all of them except for the Blue Marvel, because I have the Limited Edition, and and then the original Asteroids, the one that only had I think 4 games on it. So I've had all of the cabinets except for those 2. And as of today, I still have 12. I still have 12 Arcade1Up cabinets in my house. And I've spent over $5,000-$6,000 on these things. Glenn, Michael B., tell me, how many Arcade1Up cabinets have you owned up until now? Do you still have every single one, all that kind of stuff?
Well, you start with me. I'm a hoarder. So, yes. I do. I currently have 15 total. And I've given one, actually, I've given 2 away. I gave one to my neighbor and one to Ritzy Knuckles. He had to have Space Invaders, and I had an extra one, so I gave one to him. But yeah, they'll have to pry off my cold, dead hands because I'm a hoarder.
Wow. Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, I'm also a bit of a hoarder, Glenn. I currently have 11 Arcade1Up cabinets. I just picked up Centipede the other day, so up to 11 now.
Wow. Do me a favor, guys. For those of you watching, we definitely want this to be involved, because not only will we share with you our top 5, we also want to hear your top 5. But here's how we're going to do it. We're going to do it top 5, number 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, until your absolute favorite. But before we get to that, for those of you in the chat watching the show, just do me a favor. Type a number in the live chat right now. Just type a number. How many Arcade1Up 3/4 scale cabinets do you own right now? Whether and don't be embarrassed if it's 1, if it's 12. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. Just how many do you have? I would love to take a quick poll from the chat.
And I assume you want to include countercades, wallcades, any one of them, right?
Well, let's just do, because we're just going to be talking about our 3/4 scale top 5. We're not going to include the countercades or the cocktail tables.
Okay.
I would love to hear that. So Solpris says he has 0. We have 12, 4, 10. Mark Walsh has 18. Oh my goodness. Sounds like he might have some modded cabinets in there. Or do you own every single one, my friend? 4, 12, 11. Wow. As you can see, guys, I mean, at what point, Glenn, do you think you hit super fan status? Is it more than 5 cabs? More than 10 cabinets?
I say,
what do you
for
think?
super fan, you got to be 10 and above. That's a super fan, right?
Okay. What about you, Michael B? Do you agree with that? 10 and above?
Yeah, that's fair. You got to own at least 70% of the cabinets. You're a super fan.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. So in my opinion, I think 10. I think 10 is a good number. If you have 10 Arcade1Up cabinets, which, let's just say they were $300 each, that's what, about $3,000, right? You've spent on arcade machines. I mean,
let's get them at $75 a pop, which sometimes you can do that.
Unless you got them during a fire sale. Oh wow, look at this, Brian. He's owned 11 and sold all but 1. Well, even though there's so many options hitting the market, there are plenty of Arcade1Up cabinets I'm definitely going to be keeping, which is another reason why we're going to be doing this show. Okay, guys. So here's what we want to do. I don't want you to write your top 5 in the chat yet. What I want you to do is think of your top 5, and whatever number 5 is, go ahead and put that in the chat. We want to go one at a time. Don't just write, Star Wars, Burger Time, blah, blah, blah. Just put your number 5 in. And while we see what the community thinks is their number 5 cabinet, Michael B., if you had to take a look at all those Arcade1Up machines, what's number 5 for you, and why is it number 5?
Number 5 for me is, in fact, Burger Time.
Okay.
I love Burger Time. I think it's one of the nicest looking cabinets they've put out. That artwork on the side with Peter Pepper is beautiful. A couple drawbacks, and mainly it's the horizontal games on the vertical screen. I love Bad Dudes. I'm a huge Bad Dudes fan. P-Dubs, you know that. I kind of attacked you when you told me the game didn't age well.
It's okay, to each his own.
I really like Bad Dudes, and it's a little disappointing to see it so small in the cabinet. I'm getting a little more used to it. It's not bothering me as much, but if those two games weren't so awkward, I think this would place much higher on my list. But right now, Burger Time's number 5.
All right, so you think Burger Time is number 5. We got a lot. I've seen Final Fight in here, TMNT. Burger Time, Brian agrees with you. Joseph says Marvel Superheroes. While those answers keep coming in, Glenn, what is number 5?
Well, I'm going to give my list only for ones I personally own. I think it's only fair since I've had time to use them.
Right.
So in my collection, number 5 would be Galaga. It's just a great game, and it's also got Galaxian. I know a lot of people feel that's a wasted game. I love Galaxian, and Galaga is just a great game. I mean, it's a game you go down, you sit down, you start playing it for a while, and get that high score on there,
Okay. I love, and take a look at the chat, guys. We got all kinds of things. We got Centipede, we got Golden Tee, we got Star Wars, we got TMNT as number 5. And what does that tell you is that Arcade1Up has found a way to appeal to everybody, right? With their cabinet lineups. So a number 1 for me might be a 0 for somebody else. So this is going to be fun as we go through this. So let's talk about me. So when it comes to my top 5, I actually pulled a quick video clip here. So if everyone wants to know what is P-Dub's number 5 Arcade1Up cabinet, here we go.
Actually, I want the girl. Forget the cabinet. I want the girl who's going to go play and kick my ass in the game. That's what I want.
Mike and I are on the same page. Number 5 is for me. Out of my top 5, Mortal Kombat would be number 5. I grew up playing Mortal Kombat a ton, playing Street Fighter Limited, and then of course, like a lot of people know, I'm more of a Mortal Kombat guy than a Street Fighter guy. Maybe it's because it's more like hardcore and the fatalities and the blood and the babalities and the animalities and the brutalities. I mean, I've always just been a huge Mortal Kombat fan. So this cabinet definitely is one that I'll probably never get rid of, even though it only has 3 games on it. I absolutely love that cabinet. And also it's my son's favorite cabinet. My son doesn't really play a lot of the Arcade1Ups in our house. He's a console gamer like a lot of his generation, right? He'd rather be in his room on his PlayStation 4 playing games online with his friends than standing in front of an arcade machine. But if there's one game he'll play with me, if I say, hey, dude, you want to go play Mortal Kombat? He'd be like, yeah, let's do it. You know what I mean? He'll jump right up and play Mortal Kombat. So there you go. So that's number 5. Okay, guys, let's keep moving. Okay, guys, so do me a favor in the live chat, put the number 4, and next to the number 4, write the name of your number 4 Arcade1Up cabinet. We would love to see it and hear your opinions on it. And while we are waiting for folks to do that, Michael B., what is number 4 in your book?
This is kind of anticlimactic now. Do you want to show the Mortal Kombat video again?
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, it's Mortal Kombat 2. I was so excited when I saw this cabinet. I talked about this when this was announced by Arcade1Up. We actually couldn't buy this originally in Canada. We had to wait till Wave 3, and I was so excited to get it. I love it. I've spent so much time. I don't even do anything except for go in and practice the fatalities. I've probably put more time into Mortal Kombat than any other Arcade1Up I have. It's just it doesn't have a lot of the extra features that some of the other cabinets do. It's not like a score chasing game, just like practicing with the fatalities. So I don't know. It could go even higher for me. I love Mortal Kombat, and I love Mortal Kombat 2's artwork specifically. I know Zohar is going to kill me if he sees this, but I'm so glad they didn't go with the original Mortal Kombat artwork. I love Mortal Kombat 2. That cabinet is iconic.
Okay. And what about for you, Glenn's Retro Show?
For me, it's going to be Pac-Man. The first cabinet they released. I know you got that second cabinet, and to be honest, that lower part with the artwork being backwards drove me nuts. So I didn't like that one. But the original Pac-Man,
the yellow
Pac-Man, the Pac-Man is a classic game, especially for my generation. So that's definitely a solid 4 for me.
Solid 4. Yeah, I mean, Pac-Man is a legendary title, you know. Let's take a look here. So when it comes to P-dubs, what is number 4? Let me find it here. Here you go, guys. Enjoy number 4 on P-dubs Top 5 from Arcade1Up. Oh, it froze. Sorry about that, guys.
Like, what happened?
Sorry about that. But yeah, Golden Tee for me is number 4. And let's talk about that Golden Tee cabinet. What I saw when Golden Tee came out, think about it, guys. We just had the joysticks and the buttons, right? And then, you know, except for, what was it, Asteroids and stuff, had the spinner and stuff. But Golden Tee was like the start of them really branching out, saying, hey, you know what? We're going to do something different, a totally different style of game. We're going to give them, you know, the big trackball, right? And who doesn't like Golden Tee? I mean, when I was in my 20s, when we would go to like the pubs, like the Tavern Inn in Lisle, Illinois, we would play on that Golden Tee machine and just drink beers and just have a blast. Golden Tee is just an iconic game, and I really, really like that cabinet. And you talked about time spent, Michael B. So I think Golden Tee is the cabinet that I spend probably the most time on, because if I want to do something really quick, I'm like, okay, I got like 20 minutes to spare. I'm just going to go play a couple of holes. You know what I mean? It doesn't even matter if you finish all 9 or 18 rounds. I'm just going to go play a couple of holes, kick back. You know what I mean? So I really
get yourself involved in a couple of holes.
Meatball Saucy agrees. They say Golden Tee is nice. Steve says that is the most played cab in his house. Give me Silver Strike. We can only hope, but I don't think that's going to happen, guys. That's right. I am from Chicago, guys. Chi-Town. Go Bears. Let's see. And we're getting a lot of great comments in here about the Golden Tee cabinet. Golden Tee is great, but Neo Turf Masters is still my favorite golf game.
You know, it's funny too, when they released the Golden Tee, so many people are like, why'd you release that? Why'd you release that? It's actually one of their best machines they have.
It is. It truly is. Yep. Even Brian says he regrets selling his Golden Tee. But yeah, Golden Tee, guys, that would make number 4 on P-Dub's top 5 list. All right, guys, it's up to you in the chat. Put a number 3 and put the name of your number 3 cabinet. We've made it to the top 3, guys. I want to see what the community thinks is their top 3. And while we're waiting for folks to do that, Michael B., What is number 3 or number 3 in your book?
Well, P-Dubs, this is another one that's probably going to rub you the wrong way because I think you think it's nothing more than a solid 6, but I really, really like the Pac-Man 40th anniversary cabinet. I know there's some problems with it, like the screen looks a little fuzzy, but you know, it's got Pac-Man, it's got Super Pac-Man, it's got Galaga. I think it looks great. I'm very happy with Pac-Man 40th.
Okay, very good. And what about you, Glenn's Retro Show?
How could you put me at number 5 and number 4? I'm going to come over there and get over here and tell you guys I'm at least at number 3.
Oh, man, this is why we love Glenn. Guys, do me a favor. Make sure after the show's over, you go check out Michael B's channel, hit that subscribe button, as well as make sure you subscribe to Glenn's Retro Show.
Get over here.
He is the godfather of our arcade and gaming community. What's up, Bobby? Bobby Vu is here, 2Die4. Make sure you guys check out his channel as well. And I just love seeing the mix. I love seeing the mix from everybody in here. This is great. Now, what's going to be interesting is when we get to number 1, will we see a common denominator, right? So we'll get there. Okay, so let's talk about it. So number 3 for me, and I have another clip. Number 3 on P-Dub's top 5 Arcade1Up list. Let's check it out.
Oh,
yeah.
That's right, guys. So number 3 for me would be the Marvel cabinet. Now, I didn't have a clip for the limited edition cabinet, but that's the one I have. I don't have the blue Marvel cabinet, but yes, the Marvel limited edition cabinet I absolutely love because it was the first time Arcade1Up was like, hey, we're going to do something different. We're going to make only a limited run of cabinets. You know, see how quickly they sell. And they did sell them. It took how long did it take? Maybe about 4 or 5 months before they sold all 8,000. Is that how long it took? And of course, the Punisher is probably the coolest game on that cabinet, in my opinion. I absolutely love playing the Punisher. Even to this day, I still sit down and will play through the entire Punisher because you can do it in like, I don't know, about 40 minutes. About 40, 45 minutes, you could bang through the entire Punisher beat 'em up game. And then Marvel Cab for style is pure gold. And yes, the Marvel Limited Edition did come with the Sanwa controls, which I like. You just probably need to add a little spring in the joystick, a little spring in your step, but minus that, the buttons and everything else. Pretty sexy, pretty sexy. And of course, the side art with Thanos. And I'm a big Marvel comic book fan. I love all the Marvel movies. The side art with Thanos was just so like, you got to have it, right? And it's beautiful. And I don't do a lot of filming downstairs, but downstairs in my downstairs living room, it's called my Marvel room, right? I've actually moved the Marvel cabinet down there because it's appropriate. Downstairs, I have all my Marvel statues and Marvel posters, Marvel lithographs, Marvel prints, all hanging on the walls. So it just makes sense that that cabinet finally made its way home downstairs. The wife wanted everything in the loft, but, you know, I'm like, it's Marvel. It's got to go downstairs. What are you, nuts? What are you, nuts, babe? Margarita Melissa? It's got to go downstairs. So very cool. Very cool. Okay, guys. Wonderful. Wonderful. Let's get to number 2. Now, number 2, this is getting really, really exciting because I can't wait to see what everyone says is number 1. Do me a favor, guys, in the chat. Put the number 2 and write your number 2 favorite Arcade1Up cabinet. We would love to see it. And while we're waiting on those answers to come over, because there is a 30-second delay on the chat, Michael B., what's the number 2 Arcade1Up cabinet in your household?
We're going to go with little Heroes in a Half Shell, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for me at number 2.
Okay. Why is that?
Well, it's first 4-player cab. Both games are incredible. And most importantly, this is the one that completely sold me on Arcade1Up. I already had the Street Fighter cabinet. I thought that's pretty cool. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came out, and I became the biggest fan in the entire world. They nailed it with this one, in my opinion.
Okay. And what about you, Glenn?
My Mr. Hanky cabinet, hi-de-ho, is the 12-in-1 Atari unit.
The Atari 12.
For me, again, I'm a classic gamer. I like the old Atari games. That cabinet just had everything on it. Once you replace that spinner, no product placement here, but once you replace that spinner and trackball in there, that's a really good cabinet. If you like Asteroids Deluxe, Tempest, just a lot of good games on it. Crystal Castles, love playing that game.
Now, Glenn, if someone wanted to fix the spinner and the trackball on the Atari 12-in-1, where could they go to make that happen?
Well, they could have gone to Amazon. There's probably some spinners left. There's no trackballs left, only because we're improving them. We have a version 3 spinner coming out, and wait to see I can't even tell you the features of version 3 trackball, but it's going to be a game changer, honestly. Price point wise, and the technology in this sucker. So it'll be worth the wait.
Wonderful. Now, what I've noticed, I've seen two common things in the chat. I've seen for number 2, I've seen NBA Jam or Star Wars. I've seen a lot of people write those. Makes me wonder if those two are going to be duking it out for the number 1 and number 2 spots. And another reason I thought this was an appropriate time to have this conversation, guys, is the fall lineup is coming. So it's like we're at a natural break, right? Wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, whatever wave you want to call it. They're all out there. And we can't even include the new cabinets yet because we haven't seen them. We haven't touched them. We haven't played with them. You know what I mean? So it's the perfect time. The question is a year from now, will we have the same top 5? It's probably going to change with all the cool stuff they got coming out. But let's look at P-Dub's number 2 cabinet. Now, for this one, I didn't pull an Arcade1Up video for it. I pulled something a little bit better that I absolutely loved watching when I was a kid on TV. Here's number 2.
Jam.
There you go. Number 2 for me is NBA Jam, guys, because I absolutely loved NBA Jam growing up and loved playing it on console, playing it in arcades. And then, of course, the cabinet itself that Arcade1Up built along with Code Mystics. Pretty spectacular. I mean, it's a beautiful cabinet, plays great. The one thing I regret doing is, we get so busy, we don't get to make all the videos we want to make. And I didn't get to make an NBA Jam cabinet review. And if I had made that cabinet review, I would have given it a 9 out of 10 because I think it's a darn good cabinet. The only thing I would have docked it a point for is the online stuff is still a little spotty. You know what I mean? Like we discovered some major issues, but I got to tell you, Code Mystics was a tremendous pleasure to work with the Super Game Room dudes. Like, we weren't talking with Arcade1Up. Like, we got a couple emails from David McIntosh behind the scenes. He's like, hey, guys, if you can work with Code Mystics and help figure this out, we'd greatly appreciate it. He sent us some nice emails. But we were working with Code Mystics behind the scenes, Michael B., if you recall. And they were just awesome, super polite. Like, we want to fix this. We want you guys to be happy. And they put some patches out, and the online experience improved. But it can still be spotty. Like, I hate the fact that there's no... what is it called when somebody quits, like a loser's penalty? You know what I mean? Like if I play Mortal Kombat online, if I jump out of the game, I get a loss, right? Like you can't do that in the NBA Jam cabinet. Like, there should be a penalty,
Well, first of all, the help you guys did, why are there not your heads on some options? There should be a Super Game Room dudes option now in that game with a P-Dub and everyone else's head on there. So Code Mystics, come on, man, make it happen.
Yep. Yep, with the patches they put in, it's a lot better. What were you going to say, Michael B?
Yeah, we've talked about this a bunch for the losing penalty for people that bail out of a game. But I think that's a hard one to do because what happens if someone just naturally has an internet issue and leaves the game? Like, how do you determine whether or not they bailed or if
there's
there's
a fail and a bail? Even if it's an internet
even
problem,
if
it sucks, but it should be a loss.
Yeah, in most online games that I play, like on the Xbox and stuff, even if like the internet craps out and you leave early, you get a loss. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because you don't know, you can't tell. Are they rage quitting? Are they jumping ship? You know what I mean? So all that stuff. Okay. Now, before we get to number one, do me a favor, guys. Obviously, we had our top five, but I would love to hear what your honorable mention is. So, what would be, you could call it, you could give me one or two that didn't make your top five, but are so close to being in the top five. Go ahead, guys, and put your honorable mention in the live chat. Michael B., what would be an honorable mention for you for Arcade1Up?
Final Fight. I love that Final Fight cabinet. So much diversity on that cabinet. I love the art style. I just love Final Fight. I was a little disappointed about 1944. I'm not a super big arcade guy, so I didn't understand how good it was. I didn't understand why it wasn't 1942 or 1943. But 1944, heck of a game. And I enjoyed rage quitting on Ghouls and Ghosts. It's much more frustrating than playing it on the NES, which I didn't think was possible.
Okay, and what about you, Glenn? We're getting a lot of.
I know we need a ding ding. I agree with him. The final fight cabinet. For me though, it was the Ghouls and Ghosts. I love that game, and the same thing. I want to smash that son of with a hammer sometimes, but I keep going back to it.
Yeah. So my honorable mention is the Atari 12-in-1 cabinet because it had 12 games. You put Glenn's trackball and spinner in there, and it became a supreme cabinet. It was the supreme Atari 12-in-1. Once you put those mods in.
Was it credit card at a send you P-dubs, or was it just cash? I forgot. What did I send you?
Cash is fine. And then, of course, the only thing I didn't like about the cabinet is it didn't really save high scores, right? And which stinks because like my wife is awesome at Crystal Castles, right? And she gets so pissed that the cabinet does not save her high scores whenever we're done. Every time she plays a game, she's number one score, and she gets so mad about it. Excuse me. But yeah, my honorable mention would be the Atari 12-in-1. I think it's a great cabinet. I love all those old Atari games that are on there. And then, if I had to pick a second honorable mention, I would agree with Final Fight because that had such a great lineup of games. You know what I mean? And all that kind of stuff. Brian Zamborski just put a great comment in here. This really makes you realize how many great cabs there have been. Quality control has been an issue, but we love the machines that work. That is a true story comment. Thanks so much about putting that in there. Okay, everybody. We definitely don't want to make this a super long show, so we're in the home stretch now. It's time for your number one, guys. In the live chat, put a 1 and then write the name of your favorite Arcade1Up cabinets so far. I want to see it. I can't wait to see it. Michael B., while we're waiting for the comments, what's the top dog, buddy?
I got a funny feeling this is going to be a clean sweep with all three of us having the exact same answer. And the definitive answer, the best Arcade1Up cabinet, is Star Wars. There's no denying it. Right across the board. I might be wrong, but I don't think I am. Oh, yeah, nostalgia with Pokemon. That seems about right. That's definitely one of his answers.
But what makes Star Wars? What makes it so good? I definitely want to hear your opinion.
It's how good it is, how good a game it is in the first place. The controls, everything is pretty much where it should be. I've talked to people that actually own the authentic arcade cabinet, and sure, they have some issues with the yoke not being the same yoke, but they say it plays really, really well in comparison. Like Gamester81, he did his review. He said the same thing. And it's spot on. None of us, that's a very hard cabinet to find too for real arcade collectors. And until people like Glenn develop the yoke themselves, it's very impossible to emulate the game. So the fact that we can have it in our homes now, it's a very special moment. The artwork, everything, It's incredible. I'm just going to jumble talking about this for a lot longer. Someone else take over.
No, I want your star to shine, brother. I want your star to shine. Glenn, number one. What's number one at the retro show?
Kind of wearing a giveaway right here on my shirt.
Is that Boba Fett?
There's no doubt in my mind that the Star Wars cabinet is the pinnacle so far of what Arcade1Up has been able to put out. From the cabinet design, whether you have the stand-up one or now the sit-down version, you have the artwork, which is phenomenal. You have Code Mystics blowing us away with the emulator that was so good. People were saying there's something wrong with it, with some of the lighting effects. Let's find out, no, that's how the arcade was. That's how the details that went into it. From going into the game, for the star effects, for the options, the game saving, and then all three games being on. Although Return of the Jedi is kind of the weak one of the bunch, I'll admit that. But even my yoke should be out, but by the praise of God, by the end of this month. But I have to actually say that the one that comes with the Arcade1Up is not a bad yoke.
No, it's not.
No, it's just a mechanical yoke. I mean, mine's not going to be that way, but I can't fault them. When I went to the headquarters and I met David and Scott, and it was sitting there, and I just gripped it, didn't feel bad. But once I played with it, they did a nice job. I mean, there's really no fault I personally could find with that cabinet. They it was the most expensive cabinet at the time, but to be quite honest, it was worth it, and I think that deserves the number one spot right now.
Very good. Nostalgia wants to know if they used the Kathleen Kennedy Star Wars artwork, would that have been better, Glenn, for you? Oh man, and people, you gotta love the fans who watch all of our streams consistently, and they pick up on the inside jokes. Here's the Alyssa
Make my head explode here.
Just for you, Mike.
Now you bring, don't start me ranting on Kathleen Kennedy, because it's trying to be good as of late, but thankfully she had no fingers in that at all. Maybe just a sign the order to allow Arcade1Up to use it, which is the only good thing Kathleen Kennedy has done with Lucasfilm since it's been there. So okay, one thing she did. Yay.
Okay. So quick housekeeping item, guys. My moderator Nostalgia just sent me a private message saying, hey, the Stream Elements bot is muting some people. It's being the bot is being a little aggressive right now. So my apologies for that, guys. I use Stream Elements when I'm live streaming video games. I forgot to turn it off for this one. So I'll turn that off on the next show. So if anyone, don't get offended if that happened to you. My apologies. We'll make sure that's turned off on the next podcast. Okay, guys. Number one for P-Dubs. Wait, number one for P-Dubs. So what do you guys think it's going to be? Is it going to be a queen? Is it going to be a clean? Is it going to be a clean sweep?
Boom shakalaka.
Now I know some people are not Star Wars fans. They're not Star Wars fans, but obviously I am a huge Star Wars fan, which is why if you've caught my broadcast in the past, guys, I've told you time and again, like the only Arcade1Up pinball machine I think I'm going to buy is their Star Wars one whenever that comes out. You know what I mean? Like I absolutely am a Star Wars Jedi fanboy. I mean, it is what it is. And of course, this cabinet was designed. It's gorgeous. And of course, it was another one by Code Mystics. It's kind of funny that the top 1 and 2 cabinets that we saw listed most frequently in this chat, guys, were Code Mystics cabinets. So, but those are the only two I think they've done with Arcade1Up. Is that correct, Michael B?
I think so.
Due to the number of people in our live chat right now who have said Code Mystics cabinets are number one, number two, maybe if I was Arcade1Up, I would keep working with them on future cabinets. I mean,
I have a funny feeling that's going to be the case.
I mean, they do a good job. And guys, we did not talk about this ahead of the show. I told the guys, get your top 5. Don't tell me what it is. I want to see what we all come up with. And I would like to say I'm surprised at number 1, but I'm not. Glenn, what do you think about all 3 of us picking Star Wars? What do you think about that?
Honestly, this means we're all intelligent men.
Great minds think alike.
It's right in your face. It's the best cabinet. I mean, they have the marble cabinets, which is good. But we're talking about their overall best cabinet. We're talking the artwork, Code Mystics doing the emulation, and the controls. Everything was just perfect with that machine. So it was really an easy no-brainer.
Yeah, and even though when you do the levels are short and quick, and it's like you're on repeat, but it gets harder and harder every time, right? Like, it's still, to me, even I've had that cabinet since the first week it got released. I don't lose interest in it.
No,
like
it's a repetitive, like you said, but it's not like on rails to the point where the same typewriters are coming out. There's always action coming with a different angle. And it's a game where you're getting a score. That's the whole point about this game, is to get a high score on there. I wished it was connected just so the high score, like, Asteroids Deluxe, could be posted somewhere for people to see somewhere. If someone gets a high score on Asteroids Deluxe or anything, just saying.
Glenn, why would you want that? We'd all just be embarrassed by Jennifer Yabud anyways. So
well, let me ask you guys something. Does your Star Wars Arcade1Up cabinet do this? When you first turn it on, and keep in mind, you got to have the speakers at around like 9 or 10, like out of 15, right? Which I usually play around 9 or 10. But when you first, the game fires up and you first turn to go play the original Star Wars, you hit the button to launch the game, and it does that whoosh, and then the sound kicks in on the speakers. Does your arcade cabinet, does it kind of rumble a little bit? Like mine has a nice little what I mean?
Is that a hardwood floor you have it on?
No. But I mean, it's man, I'm taking off in my X-Wing right now. It's the little things, right? And maybe that wasn't their intention. But guys, let me know in the chat. Do the Star Wars speaker cabinets kind of make the cabinet rumble a little bit, which gives it a little bonus effect? What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, mine did as well. But then I took the back out and let the raccoon out of it, and then it just went back to normal.
Well, hopefully mine's not broken, but man, it just got a nice whoosh, like that. I don't know. I'm a big kid. What can you say? But yeah, those are our top 5s. We also did our honorable mentions, which is great. Now let's do one more topic real quick, because we definitely don't want to take up everyone's time this evening. Out of all the fall releases, which one, more and more information comes out all the time, which one are you guys getting? Michael B., did you place a pre-order yet?
No, I can't. There's nowhere in Canada other than the Brick where you can place pre-orders. Well, you can place it for X-Men versus Street Fighter at Best Buy, but I don't want that. Only the Brick has pre-orders, and I can't order from the Brick. We don't have one yet, so I have no pre-orders in right now at this moment.
Come on, Arcade1Up, free Canada. Free Canada. Free Canada.
But if I had to pick one, I'm really, if I can say the pinball, it's the Bally Williams pinball table. I love the original artwork from the Attack from Mars. I've been so desperate for it. Do you remember that episode of The Simpsons where Homer was so desperate for seafood after they kicked him out of the Hungry Fisherman? Him and Marge went fishing. So I was so desperate for the pinball tables, I actually downloaded it on my Switch, and I've been playing the Bally Williams tables on my Switch, waiting for the table to come out. So that's where I am.
Okay. And what about for you, Glenn? Which one is?
Well, if we're breaking the ties from the actual machines to pinball, but only to take away the Kathleen Kennedy abominations, and I know I'm not going to do that. So I'm looking more forward to the little Coleco style machines and the TV. Like the ColecoVision and television with little TV sets. I'm really looking forward to those, if anything. Mostly because I'm running out of space. You know, one of these days they're going to fall on me, and I'm going to be crushed under these Arcade1Ups.
That's so funny. I have been going around like crazy. I was going to get Miss Pac-Man, but then I built my own, and then I was like, okay, I'll get the Miss Pac-Man cocktail table. When I told the wife, I think it was a few episodes ago of one of my live streams, I told everyone, I've made my decision. I'm getting Miss Pac-Man cocktail table. When I told the wife, she goes, why? You built your own Miss Pac-Man machine. Plus, you got this little mini baby Miss Pac-Man countercade. She's like, you can't like Miss Pac-Man that much. I'm like, okay. Hey, hon. Like, obviously, to get the Star Wars pinball machine. I think I want something different. I think I want the shooting cabinet, the Big Buck Hunter. Although I would prefer if it was a different light gun game, you know, Terminator 2 or something, Revolution X. Cool. Like, you know, I'm not really a fan of just sitting there shooting the animals all the time. But I haven't pre-ordered anything because, like I've told you guys, I'm waiting for all these SKUs to be announced. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want like a super cabinet to come out like 2 months from now, and I'm like, oh damn it, you know what I mean? Like,
if history tells you anything, my friend, it might be just to wait a little bit, because Best Buy is going to want theirs, Target will want theirs, GameStop will want theirs. So they whet your appetite with the initial, but it's just a fact that Arcade1Up is going to be releasing special editions, slightly different ones. So as much you guys want to bite out there, don't complain if you do it, because they are going to do that.
Yep. And guys, again, we'll make sure that bot is turned off on the next show. My apologies, I forgot to turn that off. But pretty much that's it, guys. We definitely don't want to make this a super long episode. We bury you in super long podcasts throughout the week, so we definitely wanted to make this short, sweet, and fun. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Let me know after the show. Give us a thumbs up on the way out. Let me know if you enjoyed this discussion. I had a lot of fun learning what everyone's top 5 Arcade1Up cabinets are. So I had a blast, guys. Michael B, any final thoughts or comments for everybody? Did you have fun, brother?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. The only thing I'll say is, guys, go a little easier around Frogger. It's a good cabinet. Give it a chance.
Give Frogger a chance. We should make that like a meme.
Hashtag.
Like hashtag. Give Frogger a chance. You know what, Michael B? I think I'm going to buy a Frogger cabinet just for you. You know what I mean?
I'm not joking. I'll probably end up with one. I got a feeling.
You know what? There's nothing wrong with that cabinet. I mean, the music is off, but that's got nothing to do with Arcade1Up. That was licensing. I have a thing with the artwork, but if you look at all the machines recently released as Frogger, they got the same artwork. So just go to one of the other people, get the right artwork, slap it on. You'll have a great version of Frogger.
Okay. Well, guys, do me a favor. Make sure you subscribe to my friends here. They deserve it. Thank you to you two for, joining me last minute, spur of the moment. And thanks to all of you for tuning in. Greatly appreciate your support. Subscribe for more. Give us a thumbs up on the way out. And I hope you guys have a great day. Talk to you soon.